Jasmine Crockett thought she had Elon Musk cornered, until he calmly said one sentence that stopped the entire hearing cold. There wasn't a seat left in the Rayburn House office building. Every corner of the chamber was filled, press badges dangling, interns whispering updates, phones silently recording. The hearing hadn't even started yet, but the air was heavy with expectation. Outside, cable news vans lined the block, their anchors already live with teasers. Elon Musk set to testify today in front of the House Oversight Committee, the world's richest man under oath, defending free speech and corporate power on one of the most controversial platforms on the internet, X. Inside, Elon Musk sat alone at the witness table. No entourage, no legal team flanking him. Just him, a glass of water, and a stack of notes he barely glanced at. His black jacket was simple, no flashy brand logo, no performance. He looked calm, focused, waiting. Representative Jasmine Crockett hadn't arrived yet, but her name had already been whispered around the room like a spark waiting for dry grass. She had a reputation, sharp, unapologetic, confrontational. And when it was announced she'd be leading one of the questioning segments, everyone knew things might get messy. C-SPAN had cut to commercial. Twitter, well, X, was exploding with hashtags. Number Musk under oath, number Crockett vs. Musk, number free speech test. 10 minutes later, the chairman banged the gavel. This hearing will now come to order. Elon shifted slightly in his chair but kept his eyes forward, his face unreadable. The chairman ran through formalities, thanking Musk for his appearance, reminding everyone this was a discussion about government accountability and tech responsibility. That's when the door opened and Representative Crockett stepped in. Hair done, power red blazer, expression locked in. She didn't look at Musk. She didn't need to. She knew the cameras were on. As she sat down, a junior staffer handed her a printed packet. She gave it a glance, but her eyes were already fixed on the man across the room. Musk watched her too, curious, not intimidated. As the opening statements dragged on, the tension started to grow. The chairman spoke about disinformation, government contracts, and the role of private tech in public life. But everyone in the room knew where this was headed. This wasn't just about algorithms or data transparency. This was about control. Control of the narrative, control of speech, control of the digital town square. And Elon Musk had taken that control and flipped the table. The government wasn't used to someone playing by different rules, especially not someone who didn't flinch in the face of public scorn. Since his acquisition of Twitter, Musk had become a symbol, depending on who you asked. To some, a savior of free speech. To others, a reckless billionaire throwing gasoline on public discourse. But one thing was undeniable. He wasn't backing down. The chairman finished his preamble. Mr. Musk, you'll have 5 minutes to make your opening remarks. Elon cleared his throat and leaned into the microphone. I'm here because I believe in the value of open dialogue, even when it's difficult, especially when it's difficult. If free speech only protects agreeable speech, then it's not really free. My goal with X is to create a platform where people can think out loud, without fear of being erased. No dramatic pause, no soaring rhetoric, just plain words, clear and direct. And just like that, it began. But Representative Crockett wasn't going to let him talk uninterrupted for long. Mr. Musk, Representative Jasmine Crockett said, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. You claim to care about open dialogue. That's interesting, because the platform you run has become a breeding ground for hate, lies, and political manipulation. No warm-up, no preamble. She came in swinging. Musk turned his head toward her, measured. Congresswoman, with all respect, that's a serious accusation. And I'd argue it's exactly the kind of comment that proves why open platforms are necessary. People need to see what others really believe, whether we like it or not. Crockett didn't blink. Oh, I've seen it. And you know what I see? I see white supremacists with check marks, conspiracy theorists boosted to the top of timelines, people threatening violence who are allowed to stay online because according to you, it's just free speech. Is that the vision? Is that your idea of progress? He looked down for a beat, then back up, calm. Progress is messy. So is freedom. But censorship, That's neat and clean, right? Just hit delete on anything you don't agree with. Crockett leaned forward. You're twisting this. No one's asking you to delete people for having opinions. We're asking why you're actively promoting voices that endanger lives. Hate speech is not the same thing as free speech. Or do you not see the difference? There were murmurs in the room. A few heads turned. The hearing was being streamed in real time, and already clips were being snipped and circulated. Musk didn't raise his voice. He didn't match her intensity. He stayed grounded. The problem is, who gets to define hate speech? You? Congress? The same government that's funded secret programs to influence what people see online? Because if that's who decides, then we're no longer protecting democracy. We're curating it. The moment hung in the air. Crockett's tone sharpened. So you're a victim now? The billionaire, CEO of one of the most influential platforms in history, is just a poor guy trying to speak truth to power? He almost smiled, but didn't. I'm not claiming to be a victim, Congresswoman. I'm pointing out a principle. When institutions, any institutions, try to silence dissent under the pretense of safety, that's a slippery slope. It doesn't end with the extremists. It ends with anyone who's inconvenient. She scoffed, flipping a page in her packet. That's rich, coming from someone who once banned a teenager for tracking your private jet. I didn't ban him. I temporarily suspended a doxing account that shared real-time location data. That's a safety issue, not a speech issue. Let's not confuse the two. Crockett shot back. You decide what's safety. You decide what's speech. You're playing God on a digital stage, and we're all supposed to clap while you do it. His head slightly, as if genuinely thinking about her words. I make calls, yes, but they're not based on politics. They're based on principle. The same principles this country was founded on, even if we sometimes forget that. The room grew heavier. You could feel the back and forth tightening, like a rope in a tug-of-war. No one was quite sure which side the public would side with, but the stakes felt bigger than two personalities. One was fire, the other ice. But somehow, the ice wasn't melting. Crockett's voice rose. You are unleashing something you don't understand, Mr. Musk. People are being radicalized on your platform. They're believing lies, spreading them, acting on them. That's not freedom. It's chaos. And then, Musk replied, steady tone firm, Congresswoman, what you call chaos, I call reality. And trying to suppress reality only makes people distrust the system more. People aren't stupid. They know when something's being hidden. The chairman's gavel banged. Time is up for this line of questioning. A tense silence followed. The hearing continued for another hour, but the defining moment had already happened. The clips were already spreading. Musk's calm defiance versus Crockett's passionate outrage. When the hearing adjourned, Musk stood, nodded politely to the committee, and walked out without another word. No triumphant smile, no angry glare. Just the same measured expression he'd worn throughout. Outside, the reactions were immediate and divided. On X, Free Speech Absolutist began trending as supporters praised Musk's stance. Meanwhile, the hashtag Hold Musk Accountable gained traction among critics who saw Crockett as the only one willing to confront power. News outlets spun the story to fit their narratives. Musk exposes government's fear of free speech. Conservative sites. Billionaire dodges accountability in chaotic hearing. Liberal outlets. But perhaps the most telling moment came later that evening, when Musk tweeted a single sentence that garnered millions of views in minutes. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. Crockett responded an hour later. Sunlight doesn't cure poison. It just helps you see it better. The battle lines were drawn, not just between two people, but between two visions for the digital age. As the news cycle moved on to the next controversy, one thing became clear. This wasn't the end of the debate. It was just the beginning. Because when it comes to free speech, there are no easy answers, only difficult conversations. And this hearing proved America wasn't even close to finished having them. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video. Goodbye.